right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Suffering from stink.
A pungent, thick, rotting smell.
Only on 5 on Your Side, the local business that left thousands of pounds of rotting food behind.
The Weather First team tracking a system out of the Rockies that brings a change to our sky by midweek. Why Tuesday may be the pick day of the week.
But first tonight, ripple effects from the United Auto Workers strike. One local steel company already announcing layoffs.
There's been zero impact at all to U.S. Steel, so that's just a bunch of bull if they're saying that.
Different unions either bracing for unemployment or walking off the job. More on that in a moment. First, breaking news. An historic night at Busch Stadium where about an hour ago, Adam Wainwright became the third Cardinals pitcher ever to reach 200 career wins. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. He accomplished the feat at his farewell season, is quickly coming to an end, and sports director Frank Cusimano just rushed back from Busch Stadium where Waino talked about his big victory with the media. Frank.
Well, Ann, I really wanted to be there because I've never liked an athlete more than I've liked Adam Wainwright over the years. You talk about guts. He's 42 and physically compromised, and he had 3 shots left to get to 200 wins. And what does he do? Well, he goes out and throws the best game of his season. It's the 52nd time in his career he's thrown 7 scoreless innings. How big is 200 wins? Well, the next highest active total in the big leagues is Johnny Cueto with 145. Adam, after the game.
That's one of the most fun games I've ever pitched in my whole life, Certainly will go down as a top 3 moment for me ever, baseball-wise. So glad I got to do it here in front of our fans.
And in terms of those fans, it was electric. The announced crowd was 35,000, and everybody was standing at the end. The fireworks were soaring, and the tears were streaming. In a season of sadness, this was a night of euphoria.
Great to see. Frank, thanks. Well, a ripple effect tonight in the 4-day-old United Auto Workers strike. U.S. Steel is telling workers it's idling the only blast furnace running in its Granite City plant.
And that means hundreds of workers could be temporarily out of a job. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barczewski joins us in studio with the news that came as a big shock, Laura.
It did, Mike and Ann. This was very unexpected. And the union president here tells me it really doesn't make any sense, as he says the Granite City plant doesn't produce much for the automotive industry right now.
Steel workers in Granite City woke up to shocking news from U.S. Steel, the parent company for Granite City Works, saying, quote, "Following the announcement of UAW strike actions, we are executing our risk mitigation plan to ensure our melt capacity is balanced with our order book." Which means the only remaining blast furnace at Granite City Works will now sit idle, and an undetermined number of workers could be facing a temporary layoff.
When I went through these idles, I've had grown men crying in my office that don't know how they're going to provide for their families. It's very difficult, and I know it's business to them, but it's personal to us.
United Steelworkers Local 1899 President Dan Simmons says on their end, they aren't feeling the effects of the United Auto Workers strike, and it would take months and more locations going on strike for it to affect them.
We here at Granite don't supply a whole lot to the automotive sector. We service a whole lot of the construction market, agriculture, appliance business.
Senator Dick Durbin and Congresswoman Nikki Buzinski are questioning this decision. Buzinski believes they are using a loophole in a law called the WARN Act to push layoffs through quickly and avoid having to give 60 days notice.
What U.S. Steel has decided to do is to give pink slips to working people at Granite City Steel that start tomorrow. And they're circumventing the WARN Act, in my opinion, because they're saying right now that these cuts are going to be made for just less than 6 months.
So you get the phone call from U.S. Steel.
Granite City Mayor Mike Parkinson says these layoffs, even if only temporary, could affect not only the city, but the entire southern Illinois area as a whole.
This could have a dire consequence on housing and the housing market in the area. If these guys can't afford to pay their bills, your local restaurants, your gas stations, it'll have an effect on a lot of people in a lot of communities.
The union president says they'll be able to keep a lot of people working, but will have to reassign people to other work areas to keep those layoffs at a minimum.
Now to the latest on the United Auto Workers strike. Tonight, thousands remain on the picket line for a fourth straight day, including in Wentzville, as they demand higher wages and other benefits from the Big Three. Both sides were back at the bargaining table today. The union wants a 40% raise over 4 years, but the automakers have agreed to pay 20%. A growing number of politicians are now joining the picket line in solidarity.
I understand the plant has to be profitable, but the profits need to be shared equitably and not just from the top down.
Workers are eligible for $500 a week in strike pay, but some say it's only about half of what they'd usually receive.
Tonight, 5 on Your Side has confirmed the source of a stinky smell that's nagged neighbors in University City for weeks. It's coming from a seafood supply store in the St. Louis County Health Department that shut it down months ago. Our Robert Townsend is live outside the former seafood store where cleanup is underway. Robert.
Hey there, Mike. Let me tell you, a U-City spokesperson confirms for us there is a big fishy mess inside that building back there. Now, let me tell you, the nasty stench is so bad, we are purposely standing back here, clear across this parking lot to tell you about it.
It makes me want to gag. I have to cover my nose.
For nearly a month, Jessica Chu and her neighbors' noses have been twitching nonstop.
Around 10 a.m., I was like, I started to smell it. I'm going back inside.
When they step outside in their University City neighborhood.
Over time, I started smelling it every day, mostly in the evenings, and it just got progressively worse.
No one could figure out what is the disgusting odor.
Yeah, I thought it was my dog's poop, because I pick up her poop and I put it in the trash can.
Forcing folks to not sit on their backyard decks.
It was so bad that we thought there was a dead body in the neighborhood.
Well, you might say it was dead fish. A U-City spokesperson says, turns out the awful smell is coming from the former Seafood City supermarket near 81st and Olive Boulevard. In March, the county health department said some products at the supply store were improperly stored, caused a potential health risk, and shut down the business.
And it just kept lingering and lingering.
6 months later, neighbors are still complaining about the lingering stench. Last week, University City contacted the building owner in California and told him the city will now clean up the public nuisance and health hazard.
If you've been to a fish market, it's like that, but 100 times worse.
Monday, a glove-wearing crew spent the day filling up huge dumpsters and tackling the massive mess. It will include removing 3,000 pounds of rotting fish, countless canned goods, and other items neighbors can't wait to see all gone.
So relieved.
Yeah, I'm glad because I don't want to smell it anymore.
Now, the crew will be back out here tomorrow morning. They tell me cleaning up the mess could take all week. They also tell us that the building owner will pay for the cleanup. Live in U-City, I'm Robert Townsend, 5 on Your Side.
The Missouri Supreme Court has ruled red light and speed cameras are unconstitutional, but tonight there's a new effort to bring them back to the city of St. Louis. Leaders unveiled their plan today. For violations to hold up in court, the cameras will have to capture the driver's face. Supporters insist the fines will not be a cash grab for the city's general fund. Instead, they say the money will go towards drivers' ed programs and improving infrastructure.
A St. Louis man has been sentenced to 20 years in prison after he admitted to killing a retired St. Louis police officer. Jalen Garner pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and first-degree robbery. Garner was 16 at the time of the October 2018 shooting death of Ralph Harper. Harper was shot while parking his car in Tower Grove South. He was able to return fire, shooting Garner in the arm. 2 other teens were arrested in the case. Illinois is now the first state in the nation to end cash bail for many criminal offenses. Starting today, it's up to a judge to decide if an arrestee should be released, put on house arrest, or denied pretrial release. It's based on the crime and criminal history. Those already behind bars with a cash bail have the right to a pretrial hearing within the next 90 days. The St. Clair County Public Defender believes that will happen in waves of about 30 people daily.
When we went through who was in custody and what they were charged with, it appears that there's going to be approximately 150 people that are eligible for release. And I mean, when I say eligible, I mean they are charged with non-detainable offenses.
Today was just preliminary hearings. Tomorrow, detention hearings before a judge get underway. A victory tonight for a St. Charles County woman who has been fighting to get more privacy for young people in our state's court system.
It's a story our I-Team has been following for years. Tonight, she tells our Paula Vassan it's a huge win for minors in Missouri.
St. Charles County mom Kara Elms has been fighting for years to get justice for her son. And now, a change under Missouri law.
Basically, it says that minors' information should not appear in court proceedings.
A new level of privacy for young people, something her son did not initially get. About 5 years ago, the then 10-year-old attended a St. Charles city-run summer camp. He was accidentally pushed into some equipment, needing staples on his leg.
He had $3,000 worth of medical bills, and the city of St. Charles would not pay for those. So my husband and I decided to sue on his behalf to get those paid.
They soon learned their son's personal information was on CaseNet, the state's website to search through Missouri court cases.
His name, his address, and then his year of birth.
All accessible with just a few clicks.
Ultimately, I didn't think that any children's name should be on CaseNet because oftentimes these children have been injured, they've been abused, and I didn't want that information following them in a public way for the rest of their life.
She advocated for part of what's now Senate Bill 103. It became law in late August. It excludes certain information on CaseNet among people under the age of 18. Court officials tell us even before the legislation, people could petition the courts to raise the security level of sensitive information. Now, there's expanded protection.
There are certain situations, especially like with the Catholic Church, where they have the abuse scandal, or the Boy Scouts, and that information could be looked up on CaseNet before. Then you might be able to, make that conclusion that that child had been abused, and no person should have to deal with that.
Elms tells the I-Team the biggest obstacle she encountered came from the logistics of changing what information CaseNet makes public.
Personal information from past cases are still searchable, but going forward, she says there will be more privacy for young people in Missouri's system. For the I-Team, Paula Vassan, 5 on your side.
If you have a tip for Paula and the 5 on your side I-Team, leave a message at 314-444-5231 or email Paula, tips@ksk.com. All calls and correspondence will be kept confidential.